Now in section K, this is adding like terms. This is on page 13. We're now going to add like terms. So over here we have, if we remember from the previous section, we have 4 pencils and 2 pencils. So we really have 2 terms. However, the both terms are alike, that they're both pencils. So really you don't say when you have 6 pencils, you don't say I have 4 pencils and 2 pencils. You really say I have 6 pencils altogether. So if the terms are alike, you just add the terms together. When you add like terms together, that means terms that are alike, that they both have a pencils. You're adding the coefficients. Again, the coefficients are the numbers in front of the term. In this case, it's a 4 and a 2, so you just add the coefficients. 4 plus 2 is 6, and we're talking about the terms that are alike are the pencils, so we have 6 pencils altogether. 3 papers and 7 papers. You have papers. You have 3 papers and 7 papers. You really have 10 papers. Again, you're going to add the coefficients together. 3 plus 7 is 10. And we're talking about papers, so we have 10 papers. A book and 3 books. A book, there's no number there, but if it says a book, that means there's 1 book. And 1 book and 3 books is really 4 books. You're adding the coefficients together, 1 plus 3 to get 4 books. 6 tables and 4 chairs. You don't get 10 table chairs. You have 6 tables and you have 4 chairs. So those are 2 separate terms. They are not alike, so therefore you cannot add them together. So it just stays the way it is. You do not add them together. So if the terms are not alike, then you cannot add them together. Now we have 64 bags minus 49 bags. Again, these are 2 terms. You have 64 bags, that's 1 term, and you have negative 49 bags, that's the second term. You're going to add the coefficients. The coefficients are 64 and a negative 49, a 64 and a negative 49. So we're going to add the coefficients together. It's 64 plus a negative 49. This is not 64 plus minus 49. If this sign is in front of a single number, then it's negative. Now, when we isolate it, we're saying the coefficient is the dash 49. That means the coefficient is negative 49. So 64 plus a negative 49. You can use the calculator. So you go to the calculator, you do 64 plus right here, negative 49, and you press enter, and you get 15. So you don't write 15. We're talking about bags. We have 15 bags. So again, we're going to add the coefficients. If the terms are alike, they're both bags. So we add them together, and we get 15 bags. We have $27.34 minus $38.92. They're both dollars, so you can just add them together. Right? If you have $5 and $2, you really have $7. So again, to add like terms, you add the coefficients together. The coefficients in this case are 27.34 and a negative 38.92. Therefore, we're adding the coefficients together. So in the calculator, we're going to do 27.34 plus a negative 38.92. So 27.34, that's one coefficient. We're adding like terms together. So we're going to add the like terms together. So we add a negative 38.92. Then you press enter and you get a negative 11.58. You could also do 27.34 minus 38.92, and you get the same answer. So it's a negative 11.58, not just a single number, but negative $11.58. In algebra, so that's just the concept behind it. Now in algebra, like terms have the same variables with the same exponents. So for terms to be alike, they must have the same exact variables, and those variables must have the same exponents as each other. So for instance, 3x plus 6x, they both have the same variable of x to the 1 power, so therefore they are like terms. Where you have to look at the variables. The variables have to be the same exact variables with the same exponents. They both have x to the 1. Therefore, they are the same variable with the same exponent. So 3x plus 6x, you're going to add the coefficients. Again, they both have x to the 1. Therefore, they are the same variable with the same exponent. 3 plus 6, you're going to add the coefficients. So 3 plus 6, you can use the calculator, is 9. And the answer is not 9. The answer is 9x because we added the like terms together. The like terms in this case are 3x and 6x. Those are like terms. So you add them together to get 9x, and that is the answer. 5h minus 3h, again, they both have an h to the 1 power, so they have the same variable with the same exponent. So it's going to be 5, and the other coefficient is negative 3, where one coefficient is 5, and the other coefficient is negative 3. So we add them together, so it's 5 plus a negative 3, or you can just do 5 minus 3, either way in the calculator. So you do 5 plus the negative 3, and you get 2, and 2h is your answer. 2 is not the answer is 2h, because 5h minus 3h is 2h. 11a plus a, again, if there's no coefficient in the example, that means it's a 1. So it's 11a plus 1a. They have the same variable with the same exponent. They both have a to the 1 power, so it's the same variable with the same exponent. 11 plus 1, you're going to add the coefficients together. The coefficients are 11 and a 1, so it's 11 plus 1. So 11 plus 1 is 12, so the answer is 12a. 15x squared minus x squared, again, there's no coefficient. X squared, they both have x squared. They both have the same variable, which is an x, with the same exponent of x squared. So 15x squared, you're going to add the coefficients. It's a 15 and a negative 1. So you add the coefficients. It's 15 plus a negative 1 or 15 minus 1. And the answer is 14x squared. Now we have 17a to the fourth plus 13a to the squared. If you see here, they have the same variable of a, but they do not have the same exponent. This has a to the fourth and this has a to the second. So therefore, you cannot add them together, and they would remain the same. In the packet we're going to see, you're just going to write the same. It means that they're the same. So 17a4 plus 13a squared just remains the way it is, and you cannot add them together. Negative 22x plus 19y. This term has negative 22x, this has an x, and this has a y. They do not have the same variable. Even though they have the same exponent. They don't have the same variable, therefore you cannot add them together, so they remain the way it's written. 7y cubed plus 3y cubed, they have the same variable with the same exponent, therefore they are like terms. 7 plus 3 is 10y to the third. 5x cubed plus 2x squared, they have the same variable but different exponents, so therefore you cannot add them together. 4x4 plus 3y4, they have the same exponent, but they have different variables, so therefore you cannot add them together either. So it just remains the way it's written. Negative 16xa minus 37axa, they have the same variable with the same exponents. This has x to the 1, this has x to the 1, this is a to the 1, this is a to the 1. Therefore, they are like terms, right? We have two terms here, negative 16xa and a negative 37xa. They are like terms, therefore we could add them together. And again, to add like terms, you add the coefficients. The coefficients in this case are negative 16 and a negative 37. We add the coefficients together to get negative 16 plus a negative 37, or you could do negative 16 minus 37. Either way is fine. And the answer is negative 53. XA. You can't just write negative 53. That's not the answer. The answer is negative 53 XA. 12x cubed y squared plus 2x cubed y squared. They are like terms because they have the same variables with the same exponents. X cubed, y squared, y squared. They have the same variables with the same exponents. Therefore, they are like terms. Therefore, you can add them together. 12 plus 2 is 14x cubed y squared. 5a x4 y3 plus 2a squared. They don't have the same variables with the same exponents. Therefore, they are not like terms. 13y4 minus 27y4. They have the same like terms. They have the same variables with the same exponents. Therefore, you can add them together and you get negative 14 y to the fourth. Here they have the same variables with the same exponents, so you can add them together to get 11x cubed y. Now over here we have 1/4 y squared minus y squared. Again, this is minus 1y squared. It's going to be the same thing. The coefficient in this case is a fourth, 1/4, and the coefficient in the second term is a negative 1. They have the same variable with the same exponent. They both have y squared, so therefore you can add them together. So we're going to add the coefficients, 1/4 plus a negative 1. In the calculator, you can do alpha y equals then enter, and you get 1/4, right? So alpha y equals and then enter. You put 1 on top, 4 on the bottom. You go to the right, you press plus a negative 1, and you press enter, and you get negative 0.75, or you could do 1/4 minus 1. Either way is fine. Negative 0.75 y squared is the answer. We have a half ay x4 minus 1/4 ay x4. Again, ay x4 and ay x4, they're the same variables with the same exponents. Therefore, they are like terms. Now we're going to add the coefficients. The coefficients are a half, 1/2, and a negative 1/4. So we add that in the calculator. Again, you do alpha y equals and enter. You put a 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. Then you go to the right, plus, and the second coefficient is a negative 1/4. So you write negative 1/4, and then you press enter, and you'll get a fraction. But if to turn it into decimal, you do math, and you go down to DEC, and you press enter, and you get a decimal 0.25. The answer is not 0.25, but 0.25 AXY fourth. right? You don't just write the number. That's the coefficient, 0.25. AY(x4) is the answer. So number 1 is 15x cubed y minus 44x cubed y. They have the same variables with the same exponents, so therefore you can add them together. 15 plus a negative 44, you add the coefficients, is negative 29, or you can do 15 minus 44 and you got negative 29. The answer is negative 29 x cubed y, not negative 29, but negative 29 x cubed y. And negative a squared minus a 1/4 a squared. They both have a squared, so you can add them together. Number 2 has its negative 1, right? If there's no number in front, it's negative 1. So you're going to add the coefficients, negative 1 plus a negative 1/4, and the answer is negative 5/4. You can do math in the decimal, and you'll get the answer as negative 1.25 a squared. Number 3 is negative 15x squared plus 11x squared. They have the same variable with different exponents, so therefore they are not like terms. Therefore, you just write the same. That means that it stays the same. Number 4 is 1.4x4. They have the same variables with the same exponents, therefore you add them together. So it's 1.4 plus a 4.5. The answer is 5.85. That's not the answer. The answer is 5.85 x to the 4th. Negative 58 minus 71. They both constants. They're both numbers. So actually you add them together and you'll get those are also like terms as well. Numbers are considered like terms as well. The way this works, the way like terms work are you have x squared. This means a number squared. And over here we have x squared plus x squared. That means a number squared twice. So therefore it's 2x squared. This should just explain how like terms work. So for instance, let's say x was 3, it'd be 3 squared, which is 9, plus 3 squared, which is 9, and the answer would be 18. Same thing over here. We have 2 times x squared. That means 2 times 3 to the squared. 3 to the squared is 9. That's 2 times 9 is 18, just showing how the concept works. And that is the end of section K.